Good morning, Simon Winter is my name from Rain & Horn Business Sales. Today I want to talk to you about the factors that affect risk in the sale of a small business. The value of any business is the product of risk and return. Return is reasonably easy. It is the product of following the rules and adding up the numbers. Risk is much more difficult to determine, and it is the link between return and the value of the business. It is more difficult to calculate, and it is expressed as a capitalisation rate or as a risk multiple. To understand risk is perhaps the best way of going about it is first of all to explain what doesn't affect risk. People tend to believe that the state of the economy is probably one of the biggest risk factors associated with small business, or alternatively interest rates is a major factor affecting risk. In fact, neither of those affect risk. Both of those affect the return that is generated by a business. The other thing that it is worth mentioning is that there's a concept that the demand for a business will affect risk. Risk is not affected by demand. The value of a business is a product of risk and return. Demand has nothing to do with it. The median multiple over the last 20 years has varied only marginally. From 1996 to 2006, that multiple was a median multiple was 3.1, and in 2016 it's 3.07. Almost no change. If that had changed, if there'd been some degree of volatility in that variation, that would reflect the fact that there is demand. But there is no change in risk, and therefore demand is not a factor. There are many factors that affect risk, and in particular I'll run through 10 of them, and these are the 10 that I consider are the most significant factors. The most significant factor is the strength of the income stream. First of all, the income stream, if you are selling a product that is a necessity or is discretionary, will have an impact. Are there contracts that support the income stream? What is the size of the market you're dealing with? What's the dependence on small numbers of customers? If there's a high dependence on small number of customers, the risk will be much greater. And the major one is, what's the income repetition? In supermarkets, people come back so regularly that it becomes very predictable, and it is highly repetitious. If you're selling lounge suites, you see them every 10 years. The second factor is the impact of changing technology on a business. The third factor, the level of skills required to operate that business. Fourthly, the effect of online competition to that business. The fifth factor, does the business compete on price or service, or a combination of both? The more you are dependent on price, the easier you are to defeat. The sixth point is the level of barriers to entry that prevent new competition coming into the market. Seventh, the trading history of the business, both over the last 3 years, and also what the future potential is for growth in that business. 8 is the level of trading debt that is carried by the business. 9, can and does the business provide the owner with non-monetary returns? And finally, number 10, what is the rent as a percentage of the turnover? The lease is critical, and the amount of rent is so difficult to change over time that it will have a significant impact on the risk associated with that business. In the end, you're looking at the business to get a feel for what it is like, how it is performing, and you need to be comfortable with just how that business presents. I hope that's of assistance, and if you have any questions or inquiries, please contact me, or you can find me on our internet site. I'm happy to help at any time.